Welcome to the Genius Hour, where we converse with the community to find out the stories behind Indianapolis' remarkable people and the opportunities they took to get there. I'm Annie, and I'll be your host for today. We're here with Vicar Logan of Cornerstone Indianapolis Church. I'm Annie, and this is Phoenix.
Hello. Why don't you tell us about yourself?
Yeah. I'm the vicar here at Cornerstone, which is basically just a fancy term for I'm an intern. So I'm the intern in a 4-year program. We do it as the internship is actually the 3rd year rather than the 4th year, which is a little funky, but they do it that way so that way I can take what I've learned here, go back to school, kind of learn what I did well, what I need to work on, and go from there to take classes or do different things to better myself, make sure I'm good. So.
To follow up on that, what do you do well? If you could give us a self-assessment, and what do you need to work on? What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I would say that right now, I've always kind of focused on people. So this relational type ministry is really what I love. I like getting to know people's stories. I love talking with people. And so just being able to be at ear and be there, and that's really just where my passion is. So obviously they have us doing a lot of preaching and teaching as I'm studying to be a pastor. So so with that, there's always room to grow and room to improve in that sense. So I thought, you go to school, you learn all these things, you think you have it, and then when you actually go out to do it, it's always a much different story. So it's super cool being here and working with the other pastors and seeing that, being in it for 6 months, I don't have it all down. So there is a lot still to learn and grow from. So.
How long have you known that you wanted to be a pastor?
Yeah, so that's an interesting story. So growing up, I've always kind of grown up in the church, and I went to a larger church and saw our pastors, and I thought, man, there's no way I would want to do that. It's so much work, and there's so many people, so many different things you got to keep track of, and it always seemed like such a big job. Plus, public speaking, I think, terrifies a lot of people. So having to speak in front of a lot of people, I was like, I didn't want anything to do with that. Then I went off to high school, and I went to a private Lutheran high school and started learning about the Bible more and kind of going a little bit deeper than what I had already learned. And I realized, hey, this is like kind of cool stuff. And so I started thinking, well, maybe I just want to learn more about the Bible, about God. And I studied a little more. And by the time I got done with high school, I decided that this was going to be the path for me. So then I went to a Lutheran college, and now I'm at a Lutheran seminary. So a lot of Lutheran in my background there. But yeah.
Why did you decide that you wanted to intern here with Pastor Jason?
Yeah, so my passion is with more inner city ministry, and more particularly homeless ministry. So when I was in college, I partnered with a church that was downtown Detroit. So I'm originally from Michigan. I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit, and so I got connected with a church that was more downtown, and they did homeless ministry there. And I just absolutely fell in love with it, getting to know the people, getting to know the city in general as well. It was just super fun for me, especially in Detroit where I thought I knew it. I grew up there. I thought I knew all about it, and then actually getting to meet the people and hearing their stories of the city, how it's changed, how it's been different, shaped my understanding of that. And so from there, I knew I wanted to do some sort of city ministry. And so Cornerstone came up as a very interesting opportunity because we're a multi-site church. So we have 3 other sites in the northern suburbs, but then we have our downtown site. And so knowing that I wanted to do that, they placed me down here with Pastor Jason, who's the working site pastor down here. And after that, we've kind of hit it off, and yeah, it's been great learning and growing under him. So, yeah.
What's something surprising that you learned while working with Pastor Jason?
Something surprising. So Pastor Jason, he is the pastor of outreach here. So his focus is, how do we talk with people? How do we be that friendly face, that welcoming face, and honestly, just helping people is a huge part of that. Seeing needs that people have and meeting them. Well, being the outreach pastor, he's very good at talking with other people, and the thing that surprised me the most about Pastor Jason is the way he articulates things. It is really impressive. I just feel like he's always kind of got a good response, or even if it's not a response, just the way he's able to process and talk through things. It really is something that is unique to him. I think it's a huge gift of his. He's a wordsmith. And so, yeah, he's a wordsmith for sure. So being able to work with him and kind of learn in that way it's been cool.
So you mentioned outreach. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what that is.
Are you talking about outreach as like that we do here?
Yeah, you said that Pastor Jason was the pastor of outreach.
Yeah, so outreach, so being a part of a church, right? We want all people to hear about the love of Jesus. We want people to come here, to feel safe, and ultimately hear the gospel. So being the pastor of outreach takes on a lot of different facets, a lot of different roles. And so the focus really is trying to meet people where they are. I think that's something that we can all kind of take away, is meeting people where they are in their lives. And it can be hard a lot of times. I think we come into a lot of relationships, a lot of topics, a lot of conversations with a lot of kind of presuppositions, things that we already kind of assume about people. And so we'll kind of come into these relationships, or we'll come into conversations in ways that maybe don't really connect well. So being a pastor of outreach for Jason, and I work alongside him, but I'm not trying to speak for him, but outreach really just kind of looks in that way of what are needs, what are ways that we can actually help someone in their lives. So here at our downtown site, we've realized that there's a big need for food in this area, and so that's led to a lot of our ministries being able to provide food, whether that's in a dinner form, in a food pantry form, and so being able to support our community and our people in that way, and that's a form of outreach, right? We're just trying to meet people where they are, and help in any way we can, and in turn we want to build those relationships, and then bring people in. So that way they can feel more at home.
So with all these helpful events being hosted here, how do you pull people in and advertise?
Yeah, advertising is always the tricky one, and it's something that you think you know how to do, and then it can be challenging. So some of the ways I've seen us advertise, I know we get Facebook ads a lot. And we have signs that we'll put up, like a big like poster sign outside of all of our churches. At our downtown site. How effective? I think so, especially most of our churches are on pretty main roads. People are driving past them quite frequently. I know our Facebook ads have been very effective in getting people. And it's also helpful because people can sign up on Facebook, so we get a rough estimate before people come. At our downtown site, it's a little bit harder because we are dealing with a little bit more poverty. So internet, things like Facebook aren't always as accessible. And so there's a big word of mouth communication down here. So really being able to try and spread the word to as many people as we can. So we do postcards a lot down here, little note-sized cards that we can hand out, so that way somebody has something that's tangible, something that they can hold on to and kind of mark, so they're not trying to just remember things. And then we try and put flyers up as much as we can to get the word out. But ultimately what we've seen be most effective is, it sounds a little counterintuitive, but once we get people here and actually enjoying it, that's when we see the most growth, which is funny because we need the people here first in order to do that. So, the more people we can get, the more the word is out there.
So what are some of the fun behind the scenes of like doing an internship and working with the church?
Yeah. The fun behind the scenes. Well, I'll tell you what, being down here, one of the coolest things is they've really just kind of taken me on as almost a full employee, which has been super cool because it really just immerses me. And for Cornerstone, and really with Pastor Jason in general, whenever I bring an idea or bring something forward to him, his first reaction is never just no. It's always, let's talk about it. Let's see if that's actually possible. And so that mindset of, let's try and make this work before we shut it down, I think is just super helpful in general. One, because I feel like it really encourages people to be creative, to keep coming up with ideas, because you know that it's going to be heard, and you know that it's going to be considered. There are a lot of ideas that I've heard that sound amazing and just will never be possible to do. And that's the way it goes sometimes. But just to be able to dream is just, I feel like it really just frees things up. And especially as an intern, to know that, I'm being heard and my ideas are being considered and sometimes even implemented is like really cool thing. Yeah, so one of the most creative things that was not feasible. So at two of our sites right now, we're actually undergoing, we're going to be doing renovations on two of the worship spaces. And so we partnered with Ball State University and their architecture program. And we asked their class to come up with some renditions, what they would do. So I think we had a couple of people look at one site and a couple of groups look at another. And they asked us like a price range. And we just wanted to see their ideas. We wanted to see how creative they could be. So we said there was none. And it led to some really cool ideas. But the one that was the coolest, would have doubled the footprint of the church as it already was, which we don't quite have the money to be completely reconstructing our building. So, but yeah, apparently it was huge, and they did all sorts of bells and whistles with it, and It was super exciting. I know that's not from us exactly, but it was it was a fun idea.
Swimming pool in there and stuff like
Oh yeah, yeah, swimming pool would have been amazing, but
What was it like growing up in Michigan?
yeah, growing up in Michigan, I love Michigan. I love the Midwest. We are still in the Midwest here in Indiana, which is fun. But yeah, I absolutely love Michigan. So I know this gets a little bit of maybe pushback here in Indiana, but I love the snow and I love the cold. I know that gets mixed reviews here, but in Michigan, growing up, we always had lots of snow. In fact, I know there's parts that have already gotten a couple of feet even now. So that was always just we're in winter right now here, and so my mind is on winter. But even just like all the seasons, I love the snow. The falls and springs are beautiful, and then summer is awesome because my grandparents actually own my grandparents owned and then they passed away and gave it to us, but own a cottage up in northern Michigan. And so we kind of inherited that over the last year or two. But it's a little cottage on a lake, and being able to go up in northern Michigan, I would say something that people don't really know about Michigan. When people think of Michigan, they tend to think of the Detroit area or East Lansing, where our capital is. It's busy, the cities. Yeah, but when you get up into northern Michigan, it is all lakes and trees and forests, and it's really beautiful up there. And so being able to spend some summers up there, and it's peaceful, it's fun, it's recharging, and so that is one of my highlights about Michigan. But we've been all over and touring all the different things up there. So those are some of my favorite parts about growing up in Michigan.
So I know you like to travel and go to cities and stuff. Would you consider traveling to be a hobby of yours?
I would say that I never considered it a hobby, but with how much I've kind of done it, I guess it is. So traveling was never like one of the things that I was super excited about as growing up as a kid. And then the more I kind of learned about the history of cities and the history of areas, I've really just loved learning about it. So I'm from Michigan, and so learning about Detroit, I already said in college I got to learn more about Detroit. My wife is from Cleveland, so I got to learn a lot about that city. And then while I'm studying to be a pastor, my school is in St. Louis, so I got to learn a lot about St. Louis as well. And it's just fascinating, one, how these cities have kind of grown, how they've started, how they've grown, what things are important to them. And you can see it, and that's the part I think I'm most interested in, is you can see how every aspect has shaped this city. So I know, like, St. Louis, when I was touring there, I had a guy telling me all about it, and he was showing me how these neighborhoods were really set up to be walkable, to be, to take your horse and buggy down these roads and things like that. And so you can see that the architecture of the city was built around that, because that was what people did at the time. For Detroit, it was actually built, it's known as an automotive city. Well, you can see that by the designs of the roads. The roads were designed to be a lot more straight, and they kind of spring out from the city center. And they have mile roads, so the whole road system is more blocked off. Again, makes it easier for driving. So these are just some of the things I've noticed. The other thing about St. Louis that I love is, someone told me when I was there, they're like, yeah, St. Louis is known for bricks. Like, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then after that, as I'm driving around St. Louis, I realized every single building is built out of bricks. And it was something that I had already lived there for a year and I never noticed. And then when someone told me, oh yeah, this is a brick city, I'm like, it sure is. You can see it. So, yeah. And so again, kind of going back to travel, being able to see the history from all those cities and, even another tangent, on my honeymoon, we went to Charleston, South Carolina. Well, Charleston, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina. I always get those two mixed up. We went to both, but we spent time in Charleston. Again, it's a shipping city where they're right there on the coast, and you see how that impacts these cultures and these people and the architecture of it, and yeah, it's super cool. And so, would I have considered it a hobby 10 years ago? Definitely not. Do I consider it a hobby now? Yeah, I think I'm forced to. So,
Do you also admire the atmosphere, like the bustling city?
yeah, the atmosphere of the city. I think it was something that I grew into a lot as well. So I grew up in more of the suburbs of Detroit. Still busy, not city busy. My wife, however, grew up in Cleveland in the city. She's kind of on the outer skirts, but she's still in the city. And I think I kind of grew into it living, working in Detroit, living in St. Louis, that there is kind of a more hustle and bustle of things going around. I wouldn't say it's like a huge thing that I desire or crave. However, I do feel like I'm a little bit more energetic, and I like to, sometimes if I sit inside too long, I get antsy and I just got to go out. And so cities definitely allow me to do that a lot more. So, yeah, I think it's something that I've grown into, but I definitely have come to cherish more now that I'm a little older. So,
What was the most ridiculous thing that happened in a serious environment such as college?
the most ridiculous. So, growing up in high school, I was always into sports. When I got to college, that shifted because I realized that I wasn't that good at them. In high school, you can get away with it. In college, you can't. And so I kind of shifted, and I actually did some theater. And so I did some acting, and to be honest, I kind of got roped into it by my friends, which was a lot of fun, and I greatly thank them for it. But it was not something I naturally wanted to do. But I remember freshman year, we were doing shows, and we used to just stay up super late, just messing around. I don't even know. One night we got done with the show though, and we were hanging out. Me and my friend decided we wanted to learn how to do one of those double cartwheels. So we tried till about 1 a.m. trying to do a double cartwheel. Now, mind you, like I said, we're coming off a show, which means my face is full of makeup from the show, and so is his. And we're out there in the lawn trying to do a double cartwheel, just falling all over the place. It was really, we never actually did it either, which is really kind of sad. And then at 1 a.m. we decided, you know what, we're hungry. So we went to the only 24-hour place we knew, which was Steak and Shake. So we got burgers and fries at like 2 a.m, and it was a wild night. Again, I don't even know what we did. Like I said, we were just goofing off, trying to learn stupid stuff, and so yeah, that was a lot of fun.
What is the most important thing about what you are currently trying to pursue?
Yeah, that's a big one. So for me, obviously I'm studying to be a pastor, so I'm very involved in faith and theology and all that. So for me, I think it's just being able to help other people, both in a very physical way. Like I said, we provide a lot of food here. People I know like to come here. Sometimes it's getting colder outside to get out of the cold. So being able to really kind of change people's lives in that way is super cool for me. But also in a spiritual and emotional way as well. So when people come into our building, I remember it was said once to me when I was working in Detroit. A lot of times people who are homeless, they've been abandoned in multiple different ways, whether it's maybe it's from family, they've been kicked out, maybe it's from friends, maybe it's just from the city. People leave the area and they weren't able to leave with the other people, and so now there's no money, there's no jobs, and so they're just trapped. And so to be the person here where people can actually come in and to listen to them and to care about them is something that either they haven't had or haven't had in a really long time. And so that's really big for me. Is I really like that, to allow people to come in, to talk, to tell their story, and ultimately just feel a little bit more at home, a little bit more safe. And then I would love to, in that, tell them about the love of Jesus, because that was exactly what Jesus did. He met the needs of the people, and then and then ultimately he dies for them. And that's the gospel right there. So that's a huge thing for me. I love making those impacts on people's lives, and just being able to share a little bit of love that I can share. So
That's great. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Genius Hour, brought to you by the Purdue Polytechnic Lab, a small place with big opportunities for growth.